Hi, it's Allison from East Cobb Tutoring Center, and we are going to graph y equals cosine x, and then we'll do some transformations in both radians and degrees. So I have over here a t-table, and we're going to plug in the y values from the unit circle. The cosine of 0 degrees is 1, the cosine of 90 is 0, 180 is -1, 0, and then 1 again. On the graph, we are going to mark the amplitude period, and then we're going to remember the pattern so that we don't need to make a t-table every time. The amplitude is 1, so I'm going to mark that, and also -1. And then I'm going to mark all the points from my table here. So I'm going to go to the end, that's the period, 360. Half of that, times it by 3. And those are the points we're going to use. So cosine begins at its amplitude, so my first point is up here. Then go down to 0, to the bottom, to the middle, to the top. So that's what one period of the cosine graph looks like. Some teachers want to see 2 periods. If that's the case for your teacher, you would just keep it going and double the numbers. So that would go out to 720 degrees. All right, so now let's take a look at a transformation. I'm going to make one up. Let's do y equals, oops, that was messy. Y equals, you know, right now is when my pen decided to stop. There we go. Let's try that again. Y equals, aha, here we are, 4 cosine, let's do 3x. So the amplitude in this problem is the 4, and the period is 360 divided by b. b is this number right here. So we're going to have 360 over 3, which is 120. All right, so on the graph, I'm going to first mark the amplitude, which is at 4 here, and -4 down here. Now I'm going to mark the period at 120. This is counting by 30s, so 120 is right here. So to mark up the axis, I'm going to do half of that, and times it by 3. All right, so for cosine, we start at the amplitude. So that's going to begin up here. Then we go to the middle, the bottom, the middle, and the top. All right, so this one is really squished because we changed the period and effectively cut the thing in thirds. All right, so let's take a look at another example. This time we are going to graph in radians. So let's scroll up to the top here. And let's just remember what the parent graph looked like, y equals cosine x. The amplitude is still 1, even in radians. So here's the 1 and the -1. We go to the end. The period is 2 pi, half of that, times it by 3. And cosine starts at the amplitude, so up here, middle, low, middle, high. All right, now let's take a look at a transformation. We are going to change this by putting a negative in the front. That's going to be a reflection. Let's do -3 cosine of 2x. All right, so the amplitude here is not -3, it's just 3, because the negative does something else, that's the reflection. And the period in radians is 2 pi, oops, come on, pen, 2 pi over b, so 2 pi over 2. And let's see, my computer is thinking a little bit, so it's getting choppy. 2 pi over 2. So that's going to give me pi. All right, so on my graph paper, I'm going to mark the amplitude at 3 and -3. I'm going to go to the end for the period, which was pi, half of that, times it by 3. Now, if your teacher wants to know the numbers here, then you can label it. Half of pi over 2 is pi over 4. And if you times that by 3, you get 3 pi over 4. Alrighty. So cosine starts at the amplitude, but because of the negative, we are going to reflect and start it down here. So then I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go all the way up, middle, and low. Something like that. So that's one period of the cosine graph with a reflection and a stretch and also changing the period. Hope that helps.